Are you okay?
No, nobody wants to be my friend.
Oh, come on, I'm your friend.
Yeah, but I keep trying to be friends with these other women, and they just don't want to be my friend.
Yikes. Do you feel like you're putting all this effort into friendships just to be rejected every time? Do you sometimes ask yourself why people don't want to be your friend? Well, stick around because this video is for you. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video of our friendship series on Captivated by Him. I'm Alisa.
And I'm Jenn.
And recently we've been talking about how to be a good biblical friend, which was modeled by Christ in his life. Jesus was a good friend to those around him, including his disciples, fishermen, tax collectors, and sinners who just didn't deserve it or necessarily even want his friendship to begin with before he graciously reached out to be their friends.
That's right. Jesus took the initiative to be their friends. He didn't choose his friends based on what they could give him either. He was selfless and loving towards them. And in John 15:12-13, Jesus says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that one laid down his life for his friends." To lay down your life here is not just about dying for your friends. It's daily sacrificing and living your life for your friends.
Yes, as friends who imitate Christ, we should be selfless towards our friends, willing to spend our time, resources, effort, energy, and even our emotions to be there for our friends, to encourage them with the word when they're down, and to push them to be more Christ-like because we want what's best for them. And this selflessness has everything to do with how we should react when we think to ourselves, why won't people be my friend?
Wait, what? You might be thinking, I don't get it. How does being selfless have to do with my reaction to people not wanting to be my friend? Maybe you think, I've already been selfless. In fact, I'm trying really hard. I always reach out first. I'm the one who asks to meet up, who messages her throughout the week, who acts super sweet towards her. I really want to be her friend. It's just that she doesn't want to be friends with me. So I'm just going to give up.
How many of us have been there and have had those thoughts? I know it's hard to feel like people don't want to be your friend. Maybe someone just never messages you back, even though you message her like 10 times a week. Or even though you're kind to them, they treat you coldly and act like they don't know you, or even like you. Or you've had people who you've tried to trust, and then they just backstabbed you by just talking about you to other friends who they like more. Whatever the situation, I'm sure many of us have had times when we've wanted to give up on our friendships because it felt like people didn't want to be our friends. And instinctively, we just want to say, forget it. If they don't want to be my friend, I won't be their friend.
I have totally felt that way. Even recently, I've had people who I considered close friends to me blatantly lie to me about sins I knew they were struggling with instead of being transparent to me. Or I would message them and try to care for them, and they wouldn't reply to me even though I knew that they were messaging back other people. So when something like that happens, it does hurt. And it can definitely be tempting to just think to myself, well, whatever. If she doesn't want to be my friend, then why should I try? But as women who want to live our lives captivated by God and following his word, we can't just go with our gut feelings, which can often be sinful and selfish. But instead, we should turn to the word to see what principles God has to guide us in every single situation.
Exactly. And that's what we shall do. Let's turn to 2 Peter 3:8-9, which says, "But do not let this one fact escape your notice, beloved, that with the Lord 1 day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years like 1 day. The Lord is not slow about his promise, as some count slowness, but is patient toward you, not wishing for any to perish, but for all to come to repentance." This passage talks about the patience of God towards people. The only reason why the judgment day hasn't come yet is because God is patiently waiting for every predestined soul to be saved. He longs for people to come to repentance because he loves them, not wishing for them to perish or to suffer in hell. God is patient and kind toward those who sin against him and least deserve it.
Now, you might wonder, what does this have to do with women who don't want to be friends with me? But don't tune out yet. This passage might not directly talk about friends, but it does highlight a really important attribute of God. It tells us that God chooses to be abundantly patient and merciful towards undeserving people. 1,000 years is like a day, and a day like 1,000 years. He's willing to wait a very long time, selflessly for their sake. Now, as women who strive to imitate God, how can we apply this to our own lives? We can be patient and also towards women who seem to always reject us. Instead of thinking about ourselves and saying, I put in enough effort already. If she's not going to reciprocate, I'm not going to try to be her friend. Instead of that, we should show patience towards everyone, including those who we want to be friends with. We should keep reaching out and caring for those people and be patient towards them.
Totally. And being patient doesn't mean that you stop trying and just wait around for her to come around. It means that you wait persistently. Of course, that doesn't mean you have to bug her every single second.
Answer me! Respond! Why don't you want to hang out with me and be my friend?
Because that would actually be really intrusive, impatient, and selfish. But rather, pray for her consistently. Ask her how she's doing when you see them. And keep being warm. Treat her like you would a good friend even when she might not do the same thing for you.
Right, and that should come with an attitude of love, being willing to lay your life down too, not dragging your feet and thinking, okay, I guess I'll be nice to her again, but doing so because you love your sister and want what's best for her in God's eyes, because you want to glorify God in showing a sister the love of Christ. So don't give up on a friend who seems to be rejecting your friendship. And remember that God didn't give up on you. He watched over you every single step of the way until you were saved by His grace and mercy. So let's be patient towards our friends too. And even when we don't see immediate results, keep trying to be a good biblical friend towards them, remembering the patience we have been shown by God.
And another way you can love those who seem like they don't want to be your friend is by assuming the best of them. Sometimes it's easy to assume someone just doesn't like you because they don't seem that excited to see you. Maybe they say one thing that seemed unkind. They forget to say hi to you at church. They answer your text really slowly, or they don't call you back in a timely manner. Regardless of the circumstances, don't assume the worst of them. You don't know the intentions behind their actions. Maybe they were having a bad day, or maybe they just dropped their phone in the toilet and it's not working anymore. Or maybe a family member recently passed away and they just have a lot on their mind. Or their resting face is naturally a glare. We don't know what's going on in their lives or their motivations, but instead we can show love and grace. Now, it's very possible that there may be sin involved and we may need to correct our friend. But if we're honest with ourselves, most of the time when we feel hurt by our friends, we just assume our friends have sinned against us without knowing the whole story. So don't be self-conscious and choose to think the best of your friends.
Agreed. And this reminds me of 1 Corinthians 13:7, and that says, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. To love is to choose to believe the best of another, not ignorantly or against reason, of course, but trusting to one another's good.
Exactly. So when it feels like other people just don't want to be your friends, be prayerful, persistent, selfless in your attitude, and trust in the Lord that He is powerful to change people's hearts and grow your friendships when you are being faithful. 1 John 5:14-15 says, "This is the confidence which we have before Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And if we know that He hears us in whatever we ask, we know that we have the requests which we have asked from Him." God will definitely flourish a friendship that honors and glorifies Him. So keep praying for those friendships. And by God's grace, He can grow any and all of your friendships when you seek to be a godly friend to others around you.
Wow, that is such an encouraging truth. Sisters, let's stop thinking, why won't people be my friend? And instead think, how can I be a godly friend to others? We would love to hear how you want to grow in your friendships. So please leave us a comment down below. And if you're enjoying this video, we'd appreciate it if you could give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos about friendships.
We hope this video encourages you to be a good, godly friend who doesn't give up even when others do. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay captivated.